Hello everyone, today we are going to learn how to write an interview. So, how to write an interview? Have you asked yourself several times that how did the reporter of our lesson write the interview between Patsy Parker and Laura? Have you asked yourself that? When you were reading the interview between them, what did you notice? Who was asking and who was answering? So, what is an interview? So, here in the picture, you can see two persons or two people who are talking to each other. So, they are making a conversation or an interview. So, what is the interview? It is a conversation. So, it is a conversation where one participant, one of those people, asks questions to the other and the other provide answers or information. So, the other one always gives information or answers that fits for the questions that which are asked by the first person or the first participant. So the interview is between two people. The first is called the interviewer and the second is called the interviewee. Who is the interviewer and who is the interviewee? The interviewer is the person who asks questions, So he's the one who is asking questions. He's the one who wants to get the information. And the interviewee, who is the interviewee? He is the person or she is the person who offers information, who gives answers. So, can you tell me now who is the interviewer and who is the interviewee in our lesson, the portrait project? Did you ask yourself this question? Who is the interviewer? The interviewer is whom? Is Patsy Parker. We said before that the interviewer is the one who was asking or who is asking questions. So if you remember or if you go back to the lesson, you can notice that Patsy Parker was always the one who's asking questions. And who is the interviewee? Who was the one who's always given her information or answers? It is Laura. Okay, well done. So, if we go back together to read the interview between Patsy and Laura, you can notice that Patsy is the person who asks questions and Laura is the person who gives or offers information or answers. Patsy, you can notice this part is taken or is cropped. I cropped it from the lesson. You can see Patsy, which school do you go to? Who answers here? Laura, I go to West Hill Academy. So this is a proof. You can see Patsy. She asked a question and who answered her? Laura. So Patsy is the interviewer. Laura is the interviewee. And here is another example. Patsy, what things do you like? Laura, cartoon films and surfing the internet. You can notice the same thing. Patsy is asking, Laura is answering. So you can notice that the names of the interviewers are always where? On the left, are on the left part of the page, and the words, the other words, the questions or the answers or the information is given on the right. To write an interview, what do we have to do? First of all, we have to write effective questions. To write effective questions, good questions, the things that we want to ask about, to produce each piece of information. So since I ask a question, I'm waiting for what? For the information to get from the second part. So what is your name? If I want to know somebody's name, How old are you? I want to know his or her age. What things do you like? What things you dislike, for example? And then to answer the questions with related answers. So, since I asked these questions, I'm waiting for what? For answers for these questions. Like, my name is Omar. He answered my question. How old are you? I'm 14 years old. What things do you like? I like chatting with new people. And think of extra questions. What can we ask also? How many brothers and sisters do you have? What things do you dislike? Which school do you go to, for example? What are your hobbies? What do you want to be? And we have to answer them also with good answers. We use the information to make a draft. So the questions and the answers themselves, they made for us the interview. But how to make or to write a draft for this interview? For example, here you can see Patsy and Laura, they are chatting. Patsy is asking, why did you want to do this project? Laura answered her, I thought it sounded interesting. So here, if I want to make a draft for this small conversation between them, how can I write it? Why did you want to do this project? So she's asking her about the reason. Why did she participated in this portrait project? And she think that it sounded interesting. So we can write it in other words without asking questions or giving answers. So Laura participated in the portrait project because she thought that it sounded interesting. So I wrote it in my own words and you can do the same thing. Let's see the second piece. Sister Amy, aged 10. So here, Ross is telling us about his sister Amy, aged 10 years old. So how can we rewriting it? How can we rewrite this information? So Ross has a sister. Her name is Amy, or she's called Amy, and she is 10 years old. You can do the same thing but with your own words.